There you see him up on the screen, busy, in traffic, going from one thing to the other, handling his business. Michael Blake, mayoral candidate for New York City. Hey, Mr. Blake, sir, how you feeling?
Don, always good to be with you, brother. I'm tired and I'm hungry, so that means it's the campaign trail with a few days to go, no doubt about that.
Yeah,
But it's been good rhythm.
yeah.
We by all accounts we won the debate. When the Times, the Daily News, and the Post can all agree, then you've done something right. We've had more endorsements than any campaign the last few weeks, and my job is to remind people very clearly you do not have to go back to Cuomo. You can actually go to a new generation of leadership, especially for Black folk, and by electing Michael Blake as your mayor.
Yeah. Michael, listen, very early on, you were on this program, I think, announcing, pretty early on that you were going to run for mayor. And now that was in the beginning. And now it's towards, we're at almost at the end of the finish line. And I asked you your pitch then. And so what is your pitch now? Has it changed? Did you learn anything along the way? But what is your pitch going into the final stretch?
We're continuing to remind people when it comes to affordability that I have the best vision on how to do that. That we have to end using credit scores for housing applications while also increasing income limits for housing applications. We have to be very clear that 1,000 mental health professionals are needed instead of the NYPD when it comes to public safety crisis. We need to have civics and financial literacy and mental health for every student. And I'm making it also clear, Don, what we talked about before. I'm the only candidate in the race with White House experience. When I was trained by and worked for President Obama, I'm the only one who can say also that I helped defeat Donald Trump when I was vice chair of the Democratic National Committee. And so my final pitch to voters, as you are looking for your option, and quite frankly, if you're looking to an alternative, because a lot of people only know the name of Cuomo, I'm making it very clear. When Cuomo's policies were killing people during COVID, I was feeding people. When I was helping elect a Black man in Barack Obama, Cuomo was saying shuck and jive. When I was actually protecting our seniors, his policies led to 15,000 people dying. And so my vision and my direct pitch is real clear. If you want the new generation of leadership for New York City, who's actually going to address affordability, can hold Trump accountable, and make it clear that you don't have to go back to Cuomo, I'm asking people to rank me number one, Michael Blake, when you go and vote on June 24th, unless you go vote early.
How do you deal with, you said you're the only one who has White House experience. How do you deal with something, and I meant that, and someone like MAGA and Donald Trump? Because it appears right now he is running roughshod through Washington, D.C., through the legislative branch and just doing whatever the hell he wants.
You got to check a bully. You got to check a fool. You got to check a clown. And that's what he is. And the reason why we defeated him when we elected President Biden is that we wouldn't let his lies just sit there silently. And a lot of times that's the problem. You can't just be nice with the fool, right? Donald Trump has been this way his entire career, his entire life. And what I'm saying is, let's look at all that's happening. When you have a scenario of the absolutely inhumane idea of saying, well, in 2 weeks, I'll let you know, and if we attack Iran, that is crazy, crazy talk to be coming out of a president of the United States. When you have the dynamics of them sending in National Guard, when you think about even this past week of ICE and ICE agents coming after folks here in New York, what I'm making it clear is that you need someone who actually understands how the White House can be. And the reason why my training from President Obama, working for President Obama, understanding how a White House needs to be, not only do I understand the policies, but Don, I know how we're going to pay for all this. And that's the one thing people have not been able to say in this race clearly. I'm saying, let's have $2 billion that we reclaim for unclaimed fees and fines and primarily parking tickets. Let's actually be intentional of having a vacant apartment tax so that someone that is not living in New York City as a primary residence, we actually tax that individual. Let's make sure we take back the $1.4 billion in NYPD overtime. But let's also, to your question, when Trump comes for us, let's withhold sending taxes to DC to protect us in New York City. That's what makes me different. That's what makes me stand out. And that's why we're giving people a different vision that they're now seeing and saying, you know what? I'm looking for something new. I'm looking for someone who's real. I'm looking for someone who actually can check this man. It does not have to be Andrew Cuomo. You should be choosing Michael Blake.
It's interesting because I'm glad you picked up on it. We've been covering this on the show, this sort of in 2 weeks live. We call it in twee. but in 2 weeks, hashtag in 2 weeks, because that's been his thing for years and years and years. It's his delay tactic. He
Yeah.
doesn't know what to do. He just says in 2 weeks. I'm glad that you picked up on that. But you're saying something too, Michael, that's very similar to what Gavin Newsom said about the state of California. And if Donald Trump doesn't want to play ball with the state of California, then perhaps withholding, because California is a donor state. I believe that New York City is a donor city, so to speak. So how would that affect Washington, D.C.? To not pay it, not give our tax dollars to Washington, D.C.? And is that actually possible to be
It's
able to
possible
do?
because look, we understand the dynamic. You're working with corporations who would be sending their tax dollars to DC, and so concretely, state of companies, if you want to contract with New York City, you want to work with New York City, you're not going to abide by unconstitutional behavior from Donald Trump and expect you're going to keep this contract. And what we've seen over and over again is the second you punk this man, he stands down. He's not used to people checking him. And one thing that he can't tolerate and handle is if you say, we're going to say to these companies, you're going to withhold sending your dollars because they're not going to abide by unconstitutional practices. We're not going to have ICE at our schools. We're going to ban ICE from our schools, our places of worship, our community centers. We're going to be very intentional that we're not tolerating this stupidity and inhumanity. And so to that degree, the best way to avoid us having to go down that road is him not doing dumb shit in the first place. And we have to be clear about this. We are in a scenario where people want us to fight for them. And one of the main reasons why I decided to put my name in the ring and why so many groups have been ranking me, Michael Blake, as their top choice and saying we're turning out to vote for you is that folks understand you cannot run New York City if you don't know the understanding of DC. And that is what I'm laying out right here. And the reason why I think fundamentally that people have been intrigued by Cuomo, quite frankly, is they believe he's the only one. Well, it's not true. And so I'm giving you an alternative option on how we check Donald Trump, how we hold him accountable, how we pay our bills, and how we actually change the game to make sure that all communities actually have a chance. Lastly, Don, to that point, there's a level of silence and hypocrisy that continues to come out of the Trump regime. We need to be able to say that you can reject anti-Semitism and Islamophobia at the same time. We need to be very clear that we will not tolerate attacks against the LGBTQIA plus community, plus the Black community, plus the Latino community. We need to be able to say that we're going to honor when there's attacks that happen against our women, but we're also going to protect our kids. And what's going on right now is a man in Trump who is not helping us and a man who in Cuomo who's being silent. That's why I'm running.
Silence and hypocrisy coming out of Washington. So Michael, I don't know. I've been in New York for a long time. I've been a citizen of New York City for a long time, and I don't remember this much interest in a mayoral race, perhaps since Dinkins and Giuliani, if you know what I mean. Everyone seems to be paying attention to it. It's become almost a national race. Why do you think that is?
Because New York City is the national city. You know, what happens here changes the dynamic. Let's be clear, New York City is an international city, right? And people pay attention to what's going on here. And we are in this moment because our current mayor was indicted. Our current mayor has been cozying up to Trump. Our current mayor has actually been talking about allowing ICE into Rikers. People don't want that. They're done with that. And we have a moment in time where you have someone and Andrew Cuomo, who wasn't living in New York City for a long time, was in Westchester, effectively saying, "I'm going to show up and I'm going to be your savior here." And we're saying no. And what we want to make clear to everybody is that what happens in New York City sets the tone around this country. Now, too often people will say, "Well, you know what? We're not these quote unquote progressives. We're not as progressive. We're not as liberal as you all in the city," which was always fascinating to me, right? Like progressive is rooted in the word of progress. So if you've done things, that should be seen as good, right? But we're watching right now an energy where you have the Jamaican and Caribbean West Indian community that has been very excited about my candidacy because they see one of their own. You're seeing an energy in the South Asian community because of the excitement that's around Zohar Mamdani. You're seeing an energy that's happening around Brad Lander for the Jewish community. You're seeing an energy around Black women because of Adrienne Adams. You're seeing this moment that's happening here. And we are saying to everybody, that a name alone should not be why you make a decision.
Yeah.
When I was with then Senator Obama in 2006, this tied to your question, Don, around the attention and attentiveness. Initially, it was Senator Clinton, right? And Senator John Edwards. People forget about John Edwards, right? Who had the name, had the energy. But what was happening is that people made a decision on who had the best judgment. And as every day got closer, people realized that Barack Obama had the best judgment. And what I want for New York City to be thinking about over these final few days, if you had someone who died in a nursing home, you should not be ranking Andrew Cuomo. If you have a woman who has come forward with credible claims against them, you should not be ranking Andrew Cuomo. If you are a Black person and you hear and heard that in 2008, Andrew Cuomo said out of his own mouth that you should not shuck and jive at a press conference. We understand the day or the days that are after of our Black history of Juneteenth and otherwise, Andrew Cuomo is not your option. Choose a different option. You have 11 of us on the ballot. I'm asking that you rank me first. And I think lastly, Don, because of ranked choice voting, it's not like elections back in the day. You can choose up to 5 candidates. So if you decide I want Michael Blake to be my first choice, you got 4 other slots. Or if you have someone as your first, you can also rank somebody else, which is why several of us have done cross endorsements because we want to increase turnout all across the city for what's happening here.
I want to talk to you about that because it appears that I think, Lander, we had a Lander on after the arrest. I want to talk to you about that. He was arrested. He wasn't just detained. And Mamdani, everyone is saying, do not rank Andrew Cuomo. You guys have all gotten together and you are in consolidation, or you're consistent on that. So is everybody there? Everyone it's not just you three, right?
Correct. So the acronym is DREAM. So the original DREAM acronym was don't rank Eric or Andrew for mayor. That was the original DREAM acronym. Now it's don't rank evil Andrew for mayor. And so it's a 5-person coalition where we're telling people rank any of these 5 a part of that coalition. Myself, Michael Blake, Zoran Mamdani, Brad Lander, Adrian Adams, Zelnor Myrie. I will also say Scott Stringer is a very good candidate as well, so I want to show Scott love too. But the intent of this is do not rank Andrew Cuomo on your ballot. Do not include him on your ballot. Do not include him on your ballot. Do not include Andrew Cuomo on your ballot. If you feel the urgency that you need to, rethink that, because the Dream Coalition is saying very clearly, you have options, you have alternatives. And I want to be very specific to the Black and brown community, which is the only reason why Andrew is ahead in this race right now. As the only person who's a son of Jamaican immigrants, it's the only person who worked for President Barack Obama, as the person who created the My Brother's Keeper program, I'm saying to the Black and Latino community, I'm giving you an alternative choice. Rank me first, not Andrew Cuomo, so we actually have someone that's fighting for us.
It's interesting to me because I think that you and Mamdani and Lander and others have capitalized on the number one thing here. Yes, crime is important. Yes, homelessness is important. Those two things are important, and I don't think the Cuomo folks are capitalizing on this. But that appears to be affordability. And when I talk to people out on the streets, they're like, affordability, we need affordability. You're talking about rent, and you're talking about credit scores and people being able to afford things. So is Mamdani, so is Lander. Cuomo to an extent, but not enough. Is that what you think has caused your rise, Mamdani's rise, Lander's rise, and will that be the thing that wins out here?
Affordability is hands down the number one issue in this race. Everywhere across the city, it's coming up. Whether if you are a Black voter in Co-op City or Rochdale Village or Central Brooklyn, if you're a white voter in Upper West or Upper East Side, you're Latino, Corona, you're South Asian, you're East Asian, doesn't matter. Everywhere.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, what is happening right now is that people want to hear, how are you going to fix this problem?
Mm-hmm.
They understand it's a problem. So what are you going to do? And what I'm laying out are very specific ways to address affordability. First, we need to have local median income because area median income makes 0 sense. Area median income is how your housing, other expenses are determined, but it includes Westchester, Rockland, and Suffolk County. That doesn't make any sense at all. We need to end using credit scores when it comes to housing applications and
Yeah.
increase the income limits on these housing applications and be very intentional that when we build, 600,000 units, which we said around affordable housing, that will allow us to actually have a chance here to truly have affordability. Because there's so many people that are working in New York but they're living everywhere else because they can't afford it. It's the other reason why we said about guaranteed income for childcare. And I think fundamentally the reason why there's been a rise from me. There's been a rise around Zoran. There's a rise around Brad. Rise even around Adrian, because Adrian's also talking about guaranteed income. Is that we're actually talking about addressing affordability and how affordability is tied to another top issue of public safety, which is why I keep saying there has to be 1,000 mental health professionals instead of the cops. You
Yeah.
do both of those two, then you finally have a way to address the problems that people are frustrated about.
So look, you're all sort of similarly talking about affordability, although there's nuance in the issues and who has the experience, what have you. But you're right. There's been so much interest around you guys and around Zoran and especially Brad Lander lately. Um, I was surprised by the support and how you guys rallied around Brad Lander when he was arrested. You went down there. Zoran Mandani went down there, and I believe there were others. Why are you supporting each other so hard? Because usually candidates don't do this in a race. And what did you think of the arrest?
Well, shit, it was unconstitutional, right? Let's make sure we start from the baseline, right? Of as an immigrant kid myself, the question that was being asked, do you have a signed judicial warrant?
Right.
That's the only ground to be taking this person. So they went and answered the question, and then it was pretty clear to me that they targeted him, right? Because there was a bunch of people they could have gone after, right? So, which seems very similar to like Gavin Newsom. There is no way in hell someone could tell me they did not know that the governor of California was walking in that room. That's just absurd to me, right?
Mhm.
It's absurd on every level. And so, why did I go down there and others? Because it's bigger than one campaign. That when I endured police brutality twice in my life, the second time was when I was an elected official, and they let go of me because the cops said out loud, let go of him, he's the assemblyman. And I said, what would have happened if you wouldn't have recognized me?
Ah.
The reason why to me it was important to go down there was not in addition to standing up for our immigrant communities, but if a citywide elected official who has been there several times could get treated like that, what do you think is happening for the person they don't know when the camera's not around?
Right. Right.
And so that's why I said we have to remain a sanctuary city. We have to ban ICE from our schools, our places of worship, and our community centers. We have to be very thoughtfully intentional of sending a different message that it doesn't matter about a campaign. It's about us being humans and having humanity.
Michael, let me ask you, let's be realistic, all right? Because we've known each other for a while and we're both adults. Okay, so you realize the name, you know what you're up against. You know the name recognition that Cuomo has. You guys are saying don't rank him. Do you believe that is going to make a difference, even if he's not ranked or he's ranked low? Because it's still not the end, right? There's still the general, and he can still participate in the general.
He
So,
could.
yeah. So,
He
do you
could.
go on?
So here's the challenge, Don. So and this is why we need brilliant reporters like you and quite frankly, not just for what's happening these next few days, but for the next few weeks. The only thing that's going to be announced on primary night are first choice ballots.
Mm-hmm.
The whole tabulation won't happen. And so when we think about this, if enough people don't rank Andrew, it doesn't matter if he's at 30 or 35% of first choices. You're going to need second, third, and fourth to get across the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have enough energy out here, people saying, you know what, I'm not ranking this man. He can't get to 50%. One. Two, most of these polls, almost all of these polls, have effectively been around likely voters. Now, expectation has been about 1 million people, give or take, will show up to vote, let's just say.
Wow.
The
Crazy.
data,
That's
you know,
crazy.
you know, it should be substantially higher. I mean, it's
Oh,
really
yeah.
wild, right? But the data earlier this week was that essentially 37% of people who voted early did not vote 4 years ago. I'm bringing that up to say it's a totally different dynamic next week if you shift who the electorate is. And if it's not just the traditional likely voters that would lean towards a Cuomo, but if you have younger Black Latino voters that are showing up for me, younger energy that's showing up for Zoran, if you have that kind of energy that's happening out here, it changes the dynamic. So to your question, absolutely essential to make it a point to remind people you do not need to rank Andrew Cuomo, and you shouldn't. You have other options out here. And if you're looking for another option, I'm presenting myself as one of them. My name is Michael Blake. I'm asking that you rank me first. If you don't rank me first, put me in your rankings. But as long as enough people are ranking 5 people, not including Andrew Cuomo, then he can't get to 50% if that happens.
Who came up with that strategy? Did you guys decide it together, or was that just sort of, you guys are smart enough, all of you, to know that's how ranked choice works?
We came together. I mean, because we didn't do this effectively 4 years ago. We think about the race that happened. Cross endorsements happened too late to have significant
Eric
impact.
Adams won, right?
That's how he won. He
Yeah.
won essentially able to slide through, right?
Yeah.
And so, our approach, our responsibility, our urgency here. And I'll tell you this: I was at every day we're at different train stations. Every day we're at different spots. I was at a train station recently, and my niece has been out here campaigning with us out here, and she was talking to a Black woman, and this would be the exact profile of someone that, if you're looking at a likely voter per public polls, should be a Cuomo person. She made it a point to turn around and walk back over to me and said, "I just voted for you this morning."
Mm.
And what we're saying to people is there's an undercurrent that's happening right now. And in the next coming days, our job is to get as many ranked ones as possible. But if you don't rank me first, rank me second. You don't rank me second, rank me third. I'm not third, fourth, fifth, but you get the point. Rank 5 people who are not
You want
Andrew Cuomo.
first.
I want to be
Let me get
first.
it right. And let's not get it twisted.
I want to be very clear. I want you to rank me first. I'm the 9th name on the ballot. I want you to rank me first. But if for some reason I'm not your first choice, I want to be second. I want to be in your rankings. Because if
Yeah.
enough people do this together, then we can stop this. And look, Don, I just think it's, again, I just want to make it very clear to everybody. 15,000 people died in nursing homes because of Cuomo's policies. The man said shuck and jive when talking about Black people. The man had 13 women credibly come forward, said there was a toxic environment. And his argument to you right now is you should elect me mayor because I'm tough and because I did COVID press conferences. That's nonsense. And we're saying to folks, you have better and you have better options, and you should give us the chance.
Michael Blake, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a friend of the show. Good luck. We'll be watching, and we'd love to have you on right after this race, right after this first round of election of ranked choice voting here in New York City. Thank you, sir.
Always, brother. 100% definitely will be with you. Everybody be patient. We won't know who won this thing till the first week of July. But show up before June 24th or on June 24th so we can all make a change. I appreciate you, Don.
Yeah, and let's hope let's hope Michael Blake has a good 4th of July to be celebrating.
There you go.
A couple of things. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, bro.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.